So let's make a smoky chicken bake with my favourite, your favourite, my second favourite, cauliflower mash.
Brilliant. So what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be roasting red onion with our chicken thighs. We're going to create a rub for our chicken thighs. We're going to be using ground almonds, paprika. You can use smoky paprika if you can get your hands on it. We're going to be adding garlic. We're going to use 1 egg because that helps the ingredients, the dry ingredients, to bind to the chicken. So you'll end up with a really lovely golden, crispy, crunchy outer edge to your chicken thighs. We're just going to start by adding a little bit of olive oil to a baking dish.
And while Emma's doing that, if this is the first time you've ever used almond flour, do buy it, do put it in your pantry. It's a little bit expensive in terms of ingredients, but we only use a tiny bit here. But we guarantee when you go through all the other recipes, you're going to find so many that use almond flour. It's very, very nutritious, and it beats real flour 10 times down because it hasn't got all those nasty carbohydrates.
So what I've done is I've put some garlic in with a little bit of egg and just give it a quick mix. We're going to put our cherry tomatoes in. I put them in whole because they are going to blister and break down. If you cut them in half or quarters, you're going to end up with burnt cherry tomatoes, so don't do that. Avoid
good advice.
If you can. If you want, you can take the skin off your chicken if that's what you want to do, but we're going to keep it on
because we like nutritious fat.
We do. So into a bowl. Add your ground almonds. We've probably used about 8 tablespoons of ground almonds. You might not use it all, so you use a little bit less if you don't want any to go to waste. 1 tablespoon or thereabouts of paprika, and then we've got some sea salt. Well, this is actually very posh Himalayan pink sea salt, but you
any sea salt.
Don't go out and buy it. Just use whatever sea salt you've got, and a little bit of black pepper.
So black pepper, sea salt, a little bit of paprika, hot or not, and your almond flour.
Yeah, and you can see that's a really lovely kind of pinky red colour.
Looks very nice.
Okay, and then we're literally just going to pop our chicken thighs into that egg wash.
And is that just to help it stick?
It's just helping the dry ingredients to bind. So the same process if you're going to be making, fish goujons or chicken goujons, and then you're literally just popping that in the dry ingredients. And
the garlic, obviously not to do with the sticking, but just adding the extra flavour.
It just adds a little bit of extra flavour. You could add sesame seeds to this, you could add whatever you want. Okay, and then you're literally just going to pop that straight on top.
That looks fantastic. Buried a couple of tomatoes there. Was that on purpose, or it just doesn't matter? Let me pop him out the side. There we go. That looks absolutely fabulous. It's got colour. You've got virtually no carbs. A little bit of carbs in an onion, but at the end of the day, it's got so much goodness in onions. If you think about going into the summer, a lot of people get hay fever. And you think about the power of onions and shallots and things like that as antihistamines. I mean, just fantastic. That looks really, really beautiful.
Okay.
I think we've probably, if anything, made a bit more flour than we needed, so we could have always put another chicken in. Remember, chicken thighs compared to chicken breasts are super, super cost effective, if you like. This entire meal right now, don't forget, that might still not look a lot, but we're going to give you your mash as well. We'll prepare the mash in a second. That is probably a meal for 2.
Oh, easily.
I mean, look how big these are. But these chicken thighs have more flavour than your breasts, much, much more less expensive. And this entire meal right now, and when the mash comes in, currently £1.96 to put together, including the egg, including the flour, including everything. But of course, do keep your eye on above. Click on the link at any time. That will give you any updates on the prices from the supermarket, especially at a time when prices seem to be going up. But here's a meal for one that's very, very hungry, or for 2 people at less than £2.
It's incredible. And this is the great thing about this. Gosh, I've got dirty hands. This is a 1-pot dish. No washing up.
Shall I put this in the oven then, as your hands are dirty? You get ready to make your mash. Oven on at about 180. How long are we expecting this to take?
I would say 25 to 35 minutes, depending on what oven you've got. Just be very mindful that you don't want it to burn, you don't want it to stick too much, hence we put the olive oil in the bottom, and just keep an eye on it.
And of course, chicken needs to be cooked all the way through. So some people use a chicken gauge, or you put a knife in it, make sure that...
pop a knife in, make sure that the juices are running clear. Or you can just, chop a little bit out and just check that it's not pink or raw in the middle.
One of the reasons we love to use cauliflower as a mash, you've seen us probably do many rice recipes with it, is that compare it to the big baked potato. Now, a big baked potato, let's say you're going to make a mash. You're going to use at least, one big baked potato? Well, a big baked potato, as we were saying in other programs, turns into a big amount of sugar in the body, like as much sugar, one big baked potato, as in 2 cans of Coca-Cola. And people say to me, well, it must be different types of sugar. No, it's not. Sugar is sugar. And if you're type 1 diabetic, or you're trying to beat obesity or reverse diabetes, or just get healthy, the big potatoes have got to go. Now, we've done celeriac mash before, which was pretty cool. This is slightly different. This has a little bit more carbs than your celeriac, but it's still 1/5. So you could have 5 of those for one big baked potato. But in here, you've also got the addition of vitamin C, vitamin B, just get my notes, 6, vitamin K, potassium, magnesium, manganese, folate. I mean, the list goes on and on. So super, super healthy. So tell us about how you're going to do your cauliflower mash.
Well, we're just going to cut up our cauliflower. We're going to use all of it. We're going to use the stalk, everything.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can obviously use your leaves. If you've got a blender to blend it up afterwards, I would always say add in your leaves. If you're just going to mash it with a fork or with a potato masher, then just pop it straight in, just the florets and the stalk, and you're just going to boil it until it's soft.
Do you know what I love about spending time with you? Not only is it great fun, but I've just increased my savings at home because I always take the stalk out.
No, why?
That goes in the mash?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic.
And you know what? The stalk's always a little bit sweeter as well, so it kind of adds another depth of flavour to the cauliflower mash.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll let that boil, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how we mash it up. So we've boiled the cauliflower rice, all chunked up. Love the fact that Emma uses the entire stalk and everything. Then we're going to start to mash it up. 3 ways to mash it up, dead simple. You can use a fork if you've got a masher. They're only £2, get one of those. Or what I use at home, just because I like doing anything really quick and convenient, easy, I've just got a blender, stick it all in the blender, and away we go. The golden rule in my house is I just use butter as the standard, but then depending on what the dish is, I might add the cream, I might add cheese, I might add garlic, I might put all of it in.
Well, yes, you could do. I think adding a little bit of double cream, really, it just makes it like a really creamy mashed potato. Or you can keep it quite rough. You can just add a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Hard cheese, things like Parmesan go beautifully with it. But I think cauliflower mash out of celeriac mash or cauliflower mash, I actually think I prefer cauliflower mash.
Do you?
I know you're going to say celeriac.
I'm going to say celeriac. But, again, in our family, different people love different things. So some like the celeriac. And sometimes I leave it like you've got their really coarse mash, especially if I'm trying to make it look a bit like restaurant-y and so on. My kids don't like it all like lumpy. They like it all sort of nice and soft and blended. And that's what I'm going to ask you to do now. Keep going till it's really blended. But you can even just leave it like that and have it rough.
Have it, rustic.
So for this dish, we've just left it. We haven't put the cheese in. We haven't put the cream in. This literally is just cauliflower and butter because that's what we wanted for this dish, but feel free to add more to other dishes. So it depends on your oven how long it takes to cook. It depends if your oven's accurate on its temperature, but that's been in for about 45 minutes or so. But also checking, you've always got to be careful it's cooked all the way through. Oh, it smells phenomenal. We said this was a meal for one again, and I've just got to check the price on this because this can't be right. It is right, Emma. This is under £2. This is £1.94. Even that's including all your almond flour, your paprika, your sea salt, your red onion, your 2 chicken thighs, all those roasted cherries, and your cauliflower mash coming in at under £2. And that is a huge, huge meal.
It's huge, isn't it? And you've got all the juices as well. It's really, the crunchy outer edge. There's just so much going on.
That looks delicious. You know, when people say eating healthy, whether you talk about the paleo diet, the primal diet, or as we prefer to call it, the human diet, people always say expensive way to live. Well, is it really? I mean, you know, most of our dishes coming out sub £2, and look at that. I mean, that's less than one of those blinking McDonald's-y type things, and yet this is full of nutrition. I got so upset the other day. I found out they now put sugar in the chips, the fries at McDonald's.
Oh, no.
Why do you put sugar in the fries other than to get you addicted? This is natural, it's healthy, it's awesome. The flavour we're going to get from the fact that this is the thighs and the cauliflower. Well done, Ems, that's amazing.
Thank you very much. No, it looks delicious. Let's tuck in.